Meeple Nation Podcast, episode 571, Games with Multi-Use Cards.
Welcome, citizens, to Meeple Nation. Grab your favorite beverage, pull up a chair, warm up those dice, and join us at the game table as we discuss board games and the board gaming world. Each week, the hosts of Meeple Nation share their love for board games and the amazing memories that come from playing games with some very outstanding people. Let us now join our hosts in their natural habitat, the game table.
This week we're going to kick off our discussion of games with multi-use cards. It's a fascinating mechanic that adds layers of strategic depth and decision making, and one all of us love very much.
Yes, we do.
It is
so good.
Great. I love any game where you're using those cards for more than one purpose.
Yeah.
I guess that makes them multi-use cards, huh?
Bingo. Hey.
Look at me, expanding your minds.
And also cards that can be used in more than one way.
I thought,
wow.
Is
Do you
Dave
see-
here?
No. It's not. It fits because it's multi-use cards, multi-definitions, right? You see what I'm saying? See what I'm doing here?
Wow. Well, anywho, so instead of having only one, to explain what multi-use cards are a little more in depth, instead of having only one specific function, a multi-use card can be used in different ways, which offers players choices of how to best utilize them. And that could be playing a card for its the stated effect on it, using a card as a resource, using a card for set collecting or for scoring, or using a card to actually build something. And so what's the purpose of using multi-use cards? We're going to talk about the increased strategic depth.
Which I think is probably the biggest.
It is. It really is.
For sure.
The reduced luck factor, greater replayability, and thematic immersion.
Yeah, because a lot of these multi-use cards, you usually don't use dice because you're relying on those cards. So it is more of plan out your moves, and I think that in itself is key to replayability, right? Where you're using it and your game experience is not going to be the same every time. That's big.
I agree. Come join us at the game table.
The Meeple Nation podcast is sponsored by Game Toppers. Head on over to GameToppersLLC.com to check them out. They've got tables and mats and accessories to enhance and make every game night epic and amazing. And all at an affordable price. They are budget-friendly tables, and that is one thing that I really love about them. So go grab yourself a fantastically priced product at GameToppersLLC.com. You will not be disappointed.
Speaking of things on a budget, Meeple Nation has a website. And
where are you going with this?
I mean, we busted our budget with this website. We have links to all of our past episodes. We have links to our SaltCON or our SaltPod sidecast, and there's links to our bios. You can always email us at meeplenation@gmail.com. There is links to all of our socials, and of course there is our Patreon link. We love our patrons. Our patrons help the podcast grow, and as we try to improve things, we do a lot of that with the support of our patrons. And so to our patrons, we say thank you and we love you. That's great. This is Meeple Nation, the world's most okayest podcast.
With the world's most okayest website.
With the world's most okayest budget website.
Nice.
No, but we do thank James for running all that and keeping that up to date.
Fantastic. Hey, I'm super excited because I can't wait to talk about highlights this week. I am jonesing. So it's highlight time.
It's highlight 30.
What have you guys been playing?
Well, let's just jump to yours because I know you're pretty excited. Andy's, I'm sure you're going to talk about maybe the same game Andy kind of talked about last week.
Oh, did he? Okay, because I wasn't here when you guys recorded. Did you talk about the Elder Scrolls Betrayal of the Second Era?
I may have.
Okay, excellent. Well, I don't know what you said, but feel free to jump in here. Oh my gosh. This game is so good. It takes all of what I would think are the very best parts of Too Many Bones, which is they are very, very different games, right? If you play and love Too Many Bones, you're familiar with that game, Chip Theory's game. You can see the DNA is in there, but this is not like Too Many Bones only with an Elder Scrolls skin.
Right.
This is a very different, very unique experience. It does its own thing, and it just builds off some of those common concepts, right? Where you're using poker chips to track health, and you're building a character that it's primarily, you're drafting dice into, your sheet, you're slotting those, and that's sort of how you're building a character is through the use of those dice and spending experience to get those dice. Other than some of those just core features, the game is totally unique. It features like 6. Right now there are 6 maps. So technically 5 come in the base game, and then there's one that comes with an expansion, the Valenwood expansion. So right now we have 6 maps to explore, and I love the campaign structure of the game, the depth of the characters that you can build. There are so many different classes you can choose from. One of the really fun things that this game does is during combat, it asks you to like pick a stance, and you can execute your dice based on what stance you're in. And you know what? You can pay some fatigue. You can basically take a little bit of a hit to change stances and do multiple things on your turn, but it comes at a hefty cost to try to do some of those things. I really love how they did that, where you can kind of play it safe or you can really push it. The components are fantastic. Of course, this is Chip Theory's games. So, Chip Theory game, man, that always trips me up. It's Chip Theory games. Anyway, it has all their poker chips, premium components, the neoprene, the dice, everything are just like top notch, high quality. And the story has not disappointed. I love how there are multiple branching paths. I may have already played through 2 full campaigns of this already.
Oh, wow.
It's just so good. And the variety of characters that you can build, it's like, I mean, you want to be a sword and board character? Great. But does that sword and board character also need to have a little stealth or maybe a little archery on the side? Go for it. You want to build a caster, you want to be a magic wielder. Awesome. Does that mean you're going to go flinging spells, or does that mean you want to focus on summoning allies to fight for you? It's that kind of thing. And just so many different build combinations and stuff that you can do. I'm already like kind of theory crafting several different characters I'd love to build and play through. So, now that I understand the rules and have played through a couple of campaigns on my own, the next step is definitely to play this as a group, because the game is going to be way, way better with more people at the table.
And that's very similar to what Andy said, that he was excited to play it with a group.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm excited to be part of that group, hopefully.
Definitely. Yep. We need to make this happen. I think this game is probably going to grow to be a top 10 game for me. In fact, I almost no doubt it'll be a top 10. I don't know where it'll land, but this is going to be a top 10 game for me eventually.
I seem to recall you saying something along those same lines too, Andy.
Yeah, it's probably going to be very high on my list as far as favorite games. It looks like, so I haven't played near as much as Doug has. I've just played through the Escaping from Prison, and already it's just amazing. So I'm ready to really see what this game has to offer and to dive into it and maybe plan it on a campaign night so we can actually get through it.
Nice.
Love it.
And this is when you also said, if I recall right, the campaigns are not long campaigns.
3 sessions.
Yeah.
3 sessions. Yep.
So
and
something
it's
that
kind
you
of
can do in a night, maybe even.
For sure. And even like the last session, it's what's called an end game. So like you play across the map, you're exploring, you're making all these decisions, but you are playing through a story. Then you're going to go into session 2 where like after you've played that first one, you have some options. Like it kind of branches. So you pick a branch and you go play session 2. And then when you get to the end of session 2, it's going to tell you to go to the end game in the back of the book, whatever book you end in, because you might start in Skyrim and end in Cyrodiil, and so whatever your session 2, wherever that took place, you're going to go to the end game for that region and play through a campaign or play through that last scenario. However, along the way, you're going to collect keywords. And so that end game is going to change based on what story led you to that point. So there's, like I said, there's 6 books. Technically right now there's 6 different end game missions you can play, but each one of them plays different depending on what you did up until that point. It's not like hugely different, but those keywords can make a pretty big difference in how the game evolves, how that scenario sort of plays out. But three sessions, and you should be able to do it in three settings, which is great.
Yeah. How long does a round usually, a setting?
I can knock one out in a couple hours. So I think as a group, you're probably 3 to 4, just because of the extra decisions and turns. And of course, the first time there's going to be some teach, that kind of thing. So I'd shoot, after everyone has learned the game, I would probably block out about 3 hours.
Nice.
So they're not little, but they're incredibly fun.
But they're long enough that you probably wouldn't do all 3 in one night unless you had like a whole weekend that you could do.
You could definitely do it in a day, but yeah, you're probably not going to do them all in one night. Yeah, for sure. And they already have 3 more expansions planned.
Excellent.
Yeah, because Tamriel is like kind of 9 different geographical regions. So right now we can play in 6, and there's 3 more on their way.
Awesome.
So
way to go.
Yep. I was excited for more content for a game I love.
Andy, what do you get?
Well, in preparation for SaltCON, I have had a chance to play some. I can't say oldies because they're not really old, but some
2024 is not old.
Definitely some goodies though.
Yes, for sure.
So in preparation for that, I needed to get some of the games I was teaching played. So last night I got to play Pirates of Maracaibo, and it's a good thing I played Pirates of Maracaibo last night because it's been a minute and I definitely had to brush up on some rules. I played From the Moon with my wife.
Oh, how did she like it?
She liked it except for the score.
Yeah, most everybody did. Did you play the Cylons with?
I didn't. I did not play the cyborgs.
It doesn't matter what Andy plays.
Yeah,
it doesn't matter.
I played the Architects, and I think I beat my top score.
Nice.
So I love that game.
Yeah, I can. I have felt that you love this game.
Yeah.
I too enjoy this game, probably without you.
Nathan, come on. And then Lydia supposedly taught us horrified Greek monsters.
Yeah, she showed up to game night without Douglas, and it was just her. And she had the game.
It was funny because I was wrapping some stuff up on the computer, and she was like, I'm going to go to game night, and I'm going to take your game, and I'm going to tell them that I'm teaching it, because she wanted to drive separate because she thought we were going to be up all night playing games.
Then you went home.
And then we ended up going home at the same time, and she was like, well, why did I drive separate? That was stupid.
But no, go on, Andy.
So anyway, we played Horrified, Greek monsters. That's the first time I've played a Horrified game, and I actually really enjoyed it. It was fun.
I enjoyed it too. I'd played the original Horrified, and I can't remember who taught it, but yeah, it seemed way too easy, and it was just kind of going through the motions to win the game. This play that we did not feel that way. There was a challenge. Are we going to be able to do this? And it was great that we did. I very much enjoyed this experience of Horrified.
Yeah. I remember when we first talked about that, we were having a conversation because I had really enjoyed that Universal Monsters version of Horrified. I just think it's a solid little cooperative game. It's not like amazing, but I think it's solid. I think it's good. And we had talked about it, and I was like, well, I enjoyed the little mini puzzles that you have to solve to defeat each monster. And you were like, mini puzzles? I don't even know what you're talking about. And I was like, oh, I don't know if you guys played this game right. Because
we may not have.
So fast forward, like 2, maybe 3 years since that conversation, and we finally got Greek monsters to the table. So I'm glad you liked it, because I wasn't sure if people were going to enjoy it.
Now that we're talking about it, I do remember we had an alpha player.
Oh yeah, that'll do it for sure.
The game, yeah. And we had somebody who was very much a new gamer. And then we had somebody who just took everybody's turn for him, which is always, that drives me nuts.
No, you're 100% right. That's the bane of all cooperative games, right?
Absolutely.
The alpha gamer.
Yeah. Yeah. It's the bane of all game nights. It's the bane of fun.
It definitely can be.
Yeah. But yeah, no, those were great games. Speaking of some amazing games, though, we had an evening at Doug and Lydia's house the other day, and we made an attempt to play some fun games, which my wife was more excited. She likes to call these games, we should play some games that Andy will hate. And we tried that. And we had too many people, and we did. There was conversation going on everywhere, and it was rough. It was rough, but I did smile and have some fun. We did play Poetry for Neanderthals. Did I say that right?
You got it.
Yeah. Poetry for Neanderthals, and I found that fun watching everybody try to do that. I have to sit on my hands.
Yes, you do.
Yeah, it doesn't allow you to do gestures, and I talk with my hands. I wasn't trying to cheat. I just talk with my hands.
Yeah, me too.
And that was the trouble that I had. I actually thought that game was pretty fun.
I enjoyed it too, and everybody was pretty good with their one syllable words, except for me and my hands. Couldn't control my hands. But we also did try to play That Escalated Quickly, and that one we did have too many people.
Definitely,
And
yeah.
that we did have some very humorous scales of the spectrum, because the game is you have 1 through 10, and everybody has to express a situation like you're locked in a dark room, and what is going to cause you to scare and wet your pants, or what is going to not scare you. And so everybody tries to do all these spectrums, and we did have some very fun ones, but when I think we had 16 people.
It was 12,
Oh,
but
wow.
yeah, it's still too many. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah.
But it was funny to hear some of those stories. And
It was.
It was less funny to hear some of those middle stories, but they were. I enjoyed both of the experiences. But and Andy, who says he doesn't have fun, did have some fun.
I'm convinced he had at least a little.
Yeah, I guess. He's
There was-
almost smiling there.
There was a little smile.
There's a little smile. His eyes perked a
That's
little.
all I have, guys. That's
With that little mouth, yes.
It's not really a smile so much as the resting Andy face kind of disappears for a
It
minute.
disappears, yeah. Softens.
Softens, yeah.
But you had one more game on your list, Douglas, that I really have been excited for a long time.
Yeah, this has been one I've wanted to get to the table for a while. I actually thought that this was pretty funny. So I love Awaken Realms. I love their games. I love their production. I love that they're excited about making board games. As a company, I'm kind of behind them. I don't like all of their things. Like not everything they've made has hit for me, but I like when they make a new game announcement, like I perk up and I'm like, okay, this is cool. So I think can't remember how long ago this was, but a while back they sort of said, hey, we're going to start a line of games that this is like sort of Awaken Realms light. It's not, these aren't like our big, Tainted Grail and Ether Fields and the Great Wall and Nemesis. Yeah. These are more of just like kind of one and done lighter games that we'd like to put out. And so they started that off with this game. It's a Tamashi Chronicle of Ascend. And I was like, hey, I'm in. It looked cool, and
It does look cool.
I was like, all right, let's do this. And so it showed up. It actually showed up a while back, and I just haven't been able to pull it off the shelf. I finally this last weekend was able to get it off and get it played. And I have to say, like, it's really fun. It really is actually a clever little game. The core mechanism is arranging. Like you have like these data nodes that come down in sort of a grid on your board in front of you, and you've got to try to like move them using programming actions in order to line up certain like patterns, and then you execute those patterns as programs, as code to fight off this. It's kind of got that like sort of steampunk, future sci-fi. I guess it's more cyberpunk, not it wouldn't be steampunk, it'd be cyberpunk. Is the feel for this. And so you're executing these codes and fighting off this AI that's trying to wipe out the human race and all these things. It has kind of a cool story. But I've been really impressed with it. Like at first I was like, well, this is a pretty simple mechanic. But then once you actually get down to brass tacks, you're actually thinking about, okay, like how do I want to build my bag so that I can pull certain types of patterns out? And you are sort of a disembodied brain a little bit, like you're a person, but you have the ability to sort of jump from body to body. And so different bodies have different abilities. And it's like, well, how am I going to adapt my code and my strategies to this new body that I'm in and taking on enemies and all this kind of stuff? It's definitely lighter. At first when I pulled it out, I laughed because I opened the rule book and it was still like a small font, 32 page rule book. And I was like, okay, light. Okay, sure. But it's actually like, they just have a lot of redundant information in the rule book. It's actually fairly clear and you can find stuff, but you find information in multiple spots. Once you get the sort of round structure down, the game flows really easily. I've enjoyed it at one player, but I do like, I'm not sure with multiplayer. I can't tell if it's going to make it better or worse. It's kind of one of those games where sort of its strength is being able to just sort of go. Like you're constantly like just go, 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 go. And having other players, a lot of the play can happen simultaneous, but I think some of the conversation to play the game, I think would be really fun, but some of the slow down working with other players may take some of that away a little bit. And so usually I'm all about trying to get games to the table with other people, but this one I'm a little worried that the pace will slow down on it because, it needs to move fast in order to maintain, I think, its enjoyment. If that makes sense, like a lot of the enjoyment comes when it's just snappy and you're just go, go, go kind of thing. So I think anything that slows it down is gonna dock it a little bit. So as long as everybody's playing through it at a nice clippy pace, I think it'll be a really fun game.
So you talk about this coding and you're building this coding puzzle or whatever. We're not like Metro Runner, right? Where it's gonna cause me to AP the whole game.
Okay, so it actually is like that, but it's not. It's just color patterns instead of with Metro Runner, you were trying to trace like a path through there. You're trying to move everything around so that you could get from one spot to the other. This isn't like that. You have a certain number of moves you can make, and you've just got to create as many patterns as you can to execute your code. So it's like similar, but it's a lighter version of that. And it is fun. It's a fun puzzle. Like when I first was reading the rule book, I was like, okay, like this isn't much of a mechanism to base a game around. And then actually, as I started playing it, I was like, this is pretty cool.
Oh, cool.
So
good.
Yeah, it worked out. It's good. I like Tamashii. I think it's a good game. I'm looking forward to playing more. I've played 3 or 4 games of it now, I think. So.
Yeah, I love the cover. The cover is very vibrant and
the art aesthetic is wonderful, right? Which is kind of a given for an Awakened Realms game. I guess I should talk maybe a little bit about that, but they just do such a fantastic job. The minis are great. The components are really good. Definitely high quality, really great art. All that's top notch. It's Awakened Realms, so it's really good.
Yeah, it looks really good. I'm excited to try it. Hopefully, I don't make it not fun for you. Hopefully, you make it fun for me.
No, I think it'll be, I really do. I'm not trying to scare anyone off. I just do think that it is a game that if you know how you play some games and it's like, if it turns into a slow experience, it loses the fun.
Absolutely.
Right. Like it's technically a good game, but the minute that it slows down, it's like, okay, this is taking like, it's fun, but it's not that fun. Like we're taking away from the experience here. And that's the only fear that I have, but I think it'll be all right.
So getting back to the main discussion here today, we are discussing these multi-use cards. And so we have quite a few games that fall under this category. Probably the ones we should just get kicked out of the way first. Gloomhaven, Frosthaven, Jaws of the Lion.
Yep.
Stars of Okayest. Those games all use that very same... actually, Stars of Okayest is different than the Frosthaven, Gloomhaven stuff. But Gloomhaven, Frosthaven, you have your cards that have a top power and a bottom power, and you have to pick those to decide which you're going to use, and they are your life. And Gloomhaven does it very well. This is a game that we've experienced and played dozens of times, and one that just kind of finally, I don't want to say that we just got bored with it, but we just kind of...
We did, but after like 60, 70 plays, it wasn't like we got bored because the game, because we've had this conversation before. We're like retreading old ground here, but the game was just too darn long. It's too long. You play 60 games of something, it better be done. It better be done at that point, and all the side quests better be done, and the story better be finished, and you better have a whole host of amazing characters built at that point. Yeah. And we got to that point, and it was like we were halfway. And it was like, I'm out. That was my big thing with Gloomhaven. I just couldn't do it anymore. I was like, I've played this so many times. I should be done.
Yeah. It's a lifestyle game for sure.
I guess. Yeah, I get. I totally understand what you're saying. But even for a lifestyle game, it's like, come on. That's too much.
Yep. A lot of people still love it. Still the number one game. And a lot of that could be attributed to its multi-use cards.
It's not number one anymore.
Oh, isn't it not? What has...
No, it's bumped back down to number 4 at this point. Brass Birmingham has retaken it as number 1, and then Pandemic Legacy Season 1, and then my game, Arc Nova, number 3. So good.
I've heard of that.
I'm going to convert you guys one of these days. I really am. And then Gloomhaven's number 4.
All right. Well, it was number one for a long time.
It was.
I'm surprised Pandemic.
Pandemic?
I'm surprised that, I love Legacy Season 1, but I don't know if I'd call it the number 2 game of all time.
Yeah, I don't think I would. And I enjoyed my play of that too, but I don't think I would put it above Gloomhaven or...
I think it's a fantastic gaming experience. The issue is that it's once you've done it, you've done it.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's it does surprise me a little bit too. But I mean, it I think is kind of king of the legacies right now.
It is.
I think Clink Legacy should be king of the legacies, but I also know that Pandemic Legacy is the more wide played of the legacy games. So we're really off the beaten path. To bring it back, Gloomhaven, okay, as much as we did get kind of burned out on it, that multi-use card mechanic was genius.
Was phenomenal.
Right? You have a handful of cards and you can play the top of one and the bottom of another, and deciding which combo you're going to play in there and sort of managing your hand, because you can't just play cards and then just like, it wasn't really easy to just pick them all right back up. That was something you kind of had to manage.
Because it's your life.
Right. Or if you did pick them up, you had to lose some of them, that kind of thing. I thought that card mechanic was great. And I thought that the decision space that it created for, what your character was going to do as it was traipsing through the dungeon was really fun. I thought that worked really, really well.
Two others that are very similar, if we're going to kind of group some games together, I would group Jump Drive and The City. So both of these are going to have multi-use cards, not necessarily that what's printed on the card is multi-use, more so that your cards are also your currency in the game in order to play more cards. So as you're playing, for example, if we're playing The City, I have a hand of 8 cards. I have one of those cards costs 6. I have to discard 6 of my cards in my hand in order to play that card into my tableau. I do really like both of these games. I like them because they're interesting, but they're fast. I mean, you can get down and you can sit down and play a game of The City a little quicker than Jump Drive, I think, but you can play a game of either one of them within a half an hour, sometimes faster, especially if everybody knows how to play. But these are great filler games, and honestly, for a filler game, they're a lot of fun.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I love the accessibility and the quickness that you can play these games. We can go back and forth which one's better, and it's totally Jump Drive. But
I agree.
Okay, that's fine. Yeah, no. I know you guys like Jump Drive, and it's fine. I just like The City more. It's good. It's all good.
Yeah, and you can do that. You're wrong, but you can do that.
Okay. Wow.
But no, both of these games, I think they both play very, very similar. And I do see that you have a little bit more variety of what you can play with The City, and some of those patterns, not necessarily patterns, but some of those combinations will flow a little bit better, and those points will come out better in The City. Jump Drive just appeals to me more, and I love how quick that they both play quick, but
they're the same game.
Yeah, they are.
They have some mechanical differences, but they're very minor. It's mostly just a theme thing for you guys, I think, just because it's set in space.
It could be, except for Andy's more of a fantasy, but The City is not a fantasy game.
Well, there are.
Now we need a fantasy version of it.
That would be awesome.
To really make.
However,
decision on
they
this.
aren't the same, because there are some extra things in Jump Drive, some extra features in Jump Drive that The City does not have. The City's strictly cards. You have tiles. You have, you're going to be playing developments and
with the
planets.
Expansion,
right? So
yeah, you have to have the expansion for that. But you are correct; it does have that.
I do think it makes it a little bit more of an interesting game and an interesting play to play Jump Drive over The City.
It makes it longer and more swingy
but
too.
It does make it longer
and more swingy.
If you say so.
It definitely does. I 100% guarantee it.
That is your opinion.
No, I put a stamp of approval on that.
Stamp of approval.
You are out of ink, sir.
You're out of ink. Nice. I like it. I think they both play fairly well, but it's a good game to use. Another card game that's not at all like that, but again uses the cards for currency is San Juan, which is a card version of Puerto Rico. And San Juan, you use that card, you use your cards as income and as counters for everything that you're going to use it as a resource or whatever purpose you need it to be at that point. But San Juan is a game that I played a ton of when it first came out. And I lost my copy for a long time.
I've never played San Juan.
Haven't you?
I have not.
And I did discover there is 2 versions of San Juan. There's the original version and the newer version. And I'm not sure what changes or updated in the second version, but there was enough that they did that. And then with the Puerto Rico Kickstarter, with the Puerto Rico Kickstarter, for mine, I did pick up their new version of San Juan in that, because I've lost my copy somewhere.
I can't remember if I picked that up or not when I backed Puerto Rico.
I think we just had the discussion and you did not.
I believe you are correct.
Yeah. So I'm excited to give that a try and see if this is probably going to have the updated or maybe even further updated rules.
Updated-er version.
Yeah, updated-er rules for sure.
The updated rules.
But I've really enjoyed San Juan. There was an app that you could use way back before even BGG and even before BGA or Yucata. There was just an app that you could use, and it was I played a ton on that app. I thought it was well done.
Well, if we're going to follow that theme of multi-use cards that you discard for currency, we can stick kind of with the theme of Jump Drive and go into Race for the Galaxy.
Yeah.
Race for the Galaxy is going to be very similar as far as that mechanic goes. You have cards that you're playing in your tableau, and in order to play those cards, you must discard cards as currency from your hand, and then the cards are in play. You have different abilities on those cards. I think this is, as far as this mechanic is concerned, this is probably my least favorite version of this mechanic, where you're just using the cards as currency. Where I think the real meat and potatoes of this mechanic is when you actually have different features on the cards that you can use those for in order to do different things, whether it's kind of like Gloomhaven when you have the top and the bottom, but there are other games that really embrace this idea. Anyway, as far as this mechanic goes, I think the discarding cards for currency is my least favorite version of this. I think there are games out there that really embrace this mechanic and have like more than 2, 3, sometimes 4 different uses for one card. And that adds a far greater layer of strategy, like you said at the beginning of the podcast, Nathan, a greater replayability for that game, right? Because not only is it, this is a card, that's great, it has some features on it, and my only option is I can either play it or I can discard it to play something else. I really like, and we'll get into some of those more so in our top 5, in the top 5 episode, but I really like this mechanic when it's used to its fullest effect, which I think is having multiple features on cards that you can use that card specifically for that feature, yet you're ignoring everything else.
Yeah.
I totally agree.
Yeah. And while we're kind of on this, you talk about that, not liking that. So you look at a game like Bonanza. You've played Bonanza, right?
I have.
Have you played Bonanza, Douglas?
No, I've never played it.
Okay, so Bonanza it's a bean counting game, an Uwe Rosenberg bean counting game, where you're playing a bean and you're going to play some beans in front of you, but the big thing is you can't rearrange your cards in your hands. So you have cards, so you have to play the first card, you have the option to play the second card, and then you're going to draw 2 cards, and you have to figure out where these beans are all going to be planted, and whether you're trading those beans with other people or the first card must go in your field, but the other 2 that you draw out, you can trade with other people. And so other people are trying to get stuff out of their hands so that they can plant stuff into their fields. And I think it's a really clever mechanic, but really the multi-purpose use of the cards is they're beans, and then once you harvest the beans, then they just become income. And you're going to turn that card face down, and it has a coin on the back. And so now instead of being a bean, it's a coin, and the coins are what's going to get you to win. That's whoever has the most coins at the end of the game is the winner. Very simple game. I can't even remember, when did this come out? It came out a long time ago.
In a galaxy far, far away?
No, it was in this galaxy.
Wow, that's amazing.
But it came out in 1997, so this game has been around for a long time. And but I mean, it's a very simple use of the multi-purpose cards. But kind of like you said, like you said, Andy, I really enjoy it when these games are more than just two purposes, right? It's not just a resource or the face value of the card, but it has some other alternate use as well. When you're talking about Race for the Galaxy, there's a lot more. There's not a ton in some as compared to some other games, but there's more of that multi-use than there is in Bonanza. But still, Bonanza is a game that I've had a ton of fun with in the past. I haven't played it in some time now, but sounds like I need to play it with Doug. We'll get it to the table sometimes just so you can say, yep,
I've played Bonanza.
I got it done. But yeah, no, it's a game that had its place for a long time. I think it still has its place. It's not as outdated, but there are other games that I'd probably play. Not probably. There are other games that I would play. I would be far more anxious to play than I would Bonanza. But I wouldn't say no to Bonanza.
I gifted my copy of Bonanza.
Oh, did you?
I did.
I have 2 copies, so I got your back. I can get you I can fill that hole in your collection because I know you hate culling games.
I was actually asked if I would gift it. It wasn't out of the kindness of my heart because everybody knows that I'm not kind.
Or gifted. Oh, wait, no, you are gifted.
Ouch. I am kind, guys. It was just a joke. It was a self-dig.
Oh, was it? I thought you were just making an observation.
Nice.
I think my favorite game that does this whole cards can be used as a currency thing is Marvel Champions, the card game.
Yeah.
I really love just mechanically how that game plays, but also, you have a handful of cards and you have to decide what you're going to play and what you're going to pay. And, each, different cards have different resources, like different symbols on them down in the corner. Like they have something that they do, but then they have different symbols down in the corner. Some have multiple symbols, some have wild symbols. And so, there are some cards that are super valuable for getting them played out onto the table. However, they also can be really powerful if they're used to pay for something else, or at least they can be very efficient, right? They can allow you to get a lot more out because they provide more in terms of, their cost, the money, the currency, so to speak, that they provide.
Right.
And so I really love that decision space. And you guys are right. Like Jump Drive, all these games, like they do it well, but that one in particular is my favorite just because of how it's executed.
So Andy, you and I got the opportunity the other day to play Castle Combo. And this is a game that you loved.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you totally
that's right.
loved
I
it.
remember now.
This is one that your wife's called and you had something and then she told you to go kick board game butt. And you're saying not tonight. We played 2 rather simple games, and apparently that's all I can play because I from the mooned you.
You did.
In
you totally
Castle
did.
Combo.
Yep, you did.
That's totally a coined phrase now.
That's what we're calling it now, huh? I from the moon to you.
Yeah. So Castle Combo, you have 2. Do we want to call them income rows? You have 2 rows of not feudal. You have 2 rows of people. You have the royalty side and then kind of the squire side. And so you're trying to use these people. You have 15 gold that you start the game with, and you're trying to purchase these characters to put them in a 3x3 grid. And then so the cards you're using those cards to create patterns in your 3x3 grid to be able to monopolize on scoring the most points. So you need your left column full, the top row full, or you need to have a certain banners that are around, or certain banners are even in your group,
right?
Or certain bonuses that you're going to try to use. And so you're using those cards not just as a purchase, but you're using them as end game scoring, and each card scores uniquely. And I think that builds a lot of opportunities for that replayability and that strategy to be there, because you're looking at the 6 cards that are available in the market and trying to lay them out that is going to score your personal tableau the most points. And for a very simple game, which is you're going to draw a card, add it to your tableau, and then if you can't afford it, then you're going to put it face down and gain some money. But there's a strategy that is there that is in that castle combo that for a very simple game, I think has some replayability that maybe you didn't enjoy that replay or that experience, but you did run into a case where it is a game that I was very familiar with, and it was a game that was your first experience playing.
It was. I also thought, and this probably would have fixed the game for me, and we talked about this afterwards. Yeah. This would have fixed the game for me because the struggle I had was I had specific cards that I really needed, and none of those cards ever seemed to come out on my turn. But so I would buy a card that really was irrelevant, and then the next card that would come out would be like, hey, what would possibly be the best card for Nathan to pop out right now? Oh, the one that just flipped over.
Yep, yeah. You were my best player.
It happened multiple times during that game, and if there was a way to clear the row, so I could just pay a coin, pay 2 coins, clear that row, and put 3 new cards out, so I had, okay, all of these options are terrible for me. You know, even if I played a key and moved the token down to pick from the other row, I still didn't have good options. It would have been nice to at least have the ability to pay some coins, get rid of refresh that row, because there's so many games that have that mechanic, and I think it broke the game for me because there's too much randomness.
Yeah, no, I see, and you're not a fan of random.
Usually not, yeah.
I enjoyed the game. I think the game's very fun.
Randomness means that there's an element of luck, and I always say that if I was the only person in a raffle, I'd still lose. I am not a lucky person.
I see that, Andy. And I always make fun of it and say, oh, no, that's not the case. But you've proven time and time again that, that somewhat is the case.
Marvel Zombies has proved that many times.
Yes, yeah. Any game with dice.
Yep. Or cards.
Or cards.
Or components.
Or fun.
Wow. It hurt.
It could hurt. All right, Doug, what do you got?
One more that I wanted to make mention of as part of the conversation. I really enjoy the multi-use or multi-purpose cards that are found in Expeditions. This is sort of a sequel to Scythe, Stone Meyer's game, Expeditions. It's got all that great artwork and everything. But I just like how every card has something interesting. Like, you're gonna cycle it in a certain way. You're gonna play it out in your hand. You try to time that. It's going to synergize with other cards in your hand. It has, the little worker spot on it where you can play, a worker to that spot to make it do something even more. I like how you like all of the cards, right? Whether it's in, what are they? They're different. I forget what they're called, but they're the items and the meteors and all those different things. And you slot them in for different effects around your board. Is this one you guys have played? I've taught you this, right? You've played this.
Not Expeditions.
No, I have not played this either.
Yeah.
I thought I taught this game to both of you.
Nope.
Now I'm feeling hurt that you taught somebody else.
Huh.
Thanks, Doug.
Imagine that.
Thanks, Doug.
Anyway, the cards there's a mechanism in the game by which you can slot cards into like the top, bottom, or both sides of your board for bonuses like points, ongoing effects, boosts, all that kind of stuff. And so every card has something unique. Every card can synergize in different ways, can do different things. And even after you've played it for an effect out into your tableau, it's called your hand. But after you've played it out there, you can also throw a worker on there for even more for the card to do, right? If you don't have a worker, you can still play the card and it can still do things for you, but it's that added boost. This has fantastic multi-use cards.
That's awesome. That sounds really fun.
Yeah, you should teach that to us.
Okay, apparently I should. I swear I'm having a memory. I'm going to have to look that up in the app later. I swear I've taught this game to you guys.
This is a common Stuart thing. I got accused of forcing your wife to play a game that I never played with her.
No, that was me. Thanks for taking the blame for that.
Yeah. That's a whole side story. But yeah, apparently we don't remember the people we play games with. Okay. We're just having so much fun playing that we don't remember.
So kind of a fun one that is on our list. It's a game that, Doug, you own the ultimate version. I own the original version. The original version was gifted to me. So this is a game that actually neither of us have played. But something I found funny was that the original version, and I'm talking Mage Knight, the board game, the original version.
Still in shrink on my shelf. Yep.
Mine is not. It's somebody loved it before they gave it. Somebody loved it before they gifted it to me. But the original Mage Knight showed up as a multi-use card game, whereas the Ultimate Edition does not. And Star Trek Frontiers, which is a re-implementation of Mage Knight, also showed up as a multi-use card game, and it was just kind of funny. I mean, this is a game that's very well loved. Has a overall ranking of 35 on BGG, so a lot of people's great game, but one that we need to play. But I just thought it was interesting that the original version showed up as that as a mechanic, and the other one did not. And not having played either of them, I can't make that correction on one or the t'other. But Mage Knight is a game that is very well received, very well loved, and is a game that a lot of the community says it's best at one or maybe two people.
I do know that it's a very, very popular game among the solo board game community.
And so maybe both of us need to take the time and play ours and see how that is, and then I'll teach you mine and you'll teach me yours, and we'll see how
we'll compare notes and see how we did.
Yeah, see how they go, and Andy, you can watch it apparently.
He's played it. Both of these.
You've played both of them.
I have.
Oh, okay. Turn to you, Andy.
I don't recall. It's been so long since I played the first one. I mean, it's been a long time. I don't remember much about it. It's been about a year since I've played the Ultimate Edition.
Oh, I remember you played this with Justin at SaltCON.
I did.
The story's all coming back to me now.
And I would 100% agree with the player count. Like, we only played 2 players, so I don't have the experience of playing that with three, more than 2 players. That being said, that was a really long game at a 2-player game.
Yeah, and now I seem to recall you saying exactly that it was best at a lower player count.
Yeah, I would probably not want to play. I had fun with the game. I would not want to play it with 3 players.
All right, good to know. Going back to you, Doug. I'll teach you yours. No, I'll teach you mine. You teach me yours.
Done. It's a deal.
And I do have the Star Trek Frontiers as well. And so I need to... I can learn mine and that, I guess both of mine at the same time. Not at the same time. They're going to be a little bit different, but anyways, we need to get all 3 of those played for sure.
Yeah. Another one that I'd like to see hit the table hopefully soon-ish. There's actually an expansion coming out for this, so as soon as that arrives, we'll definitely play it when that hits. But that is Evenfall. I know that this is one I played with you, Andy. It was. Okay.
Me and Richie.
Don't deny it. Yeah.
Don't deny it.
It was a great game. I loved it.
Yeah, it's a really good game, and I want to play this more and more. But man, the multi-use cards in this, I mean, I think some of the cards in there can be used for like 3 different things. Like the specialists can do any number of different things. This is says it's been a little while, and I'm having a hard time just remembering off the top of my head all of the different things you can do with the cards, but they are definitely multi-use cards. And the game was one we all really enjoyed.
Yeah, this was a great game. I would be totally down to play this again.
Let's do it soon, or maybe just as soon as that expansion shows up.
Maybe Nathan can watch.
It feels like maybe.
Okay, you can play.
Yes, back on the cool kids table. A new one.
Let's not get hasty.
Let's not get hasty. Not a new one, but a re-implementation of Isle of Trains All Aboard was re-released from kind of re-implementing the original version. Duh. That's why it's called a re-implementation. But anyways, back to my original scheduled story. Isle of Trains uses these cards. I mean, you use them as currency, you use them as trains, and you use them as resources as well. And so these cards, as you have trains, you have your train that you're trying to expand its length, and so your each card that you're gonna each card that you're going to add to your train line, you have to pay for. So you're going to have to use those cards as resources. You can only have 5 cards in your hand, but at the end of your turn, you can have more at the beginning of your turn, but at the end of the turn, you have to discard down to 5. So you have to manage when you're going to be adding cards to your hand and buying cards to try to make the best of that at the time. And then you're also going to use those cards to add on to resources so that you can make deliveries to one of the 6 towns. And then you can have special deliveries that you can make a secondary delivery to that same town where you're going to have to gather more resources, or you could theoretically have them all on your first delivery and just deliver them both at the same time. But this is a very simple card game that I've picked up, and I've played it. Richie and I have played it several times together, and this is one that I've tried several times to sit down and teach my wife, but I got through the explanation, and then the game gets interrupted, and I haven't actually gotten to play a game of this with her, but I've taught it to her several times now. And then for some reason, every time we're getting ready to play, it's like, okay, something else came up. The first time was at MonCon. I got through and we got it all set up, and then somebody's like, hey, come play this. Sure, I was like, okay. So I'm really thinking she doesn't want to play the game. It's kind of what I'm thinking. But I've very much enjoyed Isle of Trains All Aboard.
Nice. Why do you think Cheryl doesn't want to play it?
It's not a very complex game, but I think that I think she doesn't like multi-use card games.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because when you start using the same resource for different things, then it's hard to keep that straight. And it's very simple when you're using them, but I don't know. The short answer is I don't know. Everybody's a little different.
How big is the box?
It is a small box.
Oh, okay. So not intimidating.
Not intimidating, but maybe it is the multi-use cards. Maybe it is. I don't know. That's my answer.
Okay. I was just curious.
Yeah. We'd have to ask her why she hasn't allowed me to teach it.
You have taught it.
Allowed us to play it. Yes. Thank you. I have taught it. Thanks for rubbing that
in. Too soon?
Maybe.
All right. That is a fairly good sampling of what is out there for multi-use cards. We haven't talked about the best games that use this mechanic, and we're gonna reserve that for next week when we talk about our top 5 picks for multi-use cards. I'm excited for that episode because we're gonna talk about some pretty amazing games.
Indeed.
Until next time,
we'll see you using your cards for all sorts of things, not just one thing at the game table.
Thank you for listening and being a part of Meeple Nation. If you would be so kind as to follow, subscribe, share, and rate or review this podcast, it really helps to spread the fun. You can be more involved in supporting the podcast by joining the nation at patreon.com/MeepleNation, or you can find a link at the top of our webpage, meeplenation.com. And while you're there, look at all our extra content. There are links to all our past episodes, a wide variety of blogs, pictures from our Instagram feed, and bios for all the hosts and our awesome bloggers. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, all under Meeple Nation. If you would like to chat with the hosts or other members of the nation, you can join our Facebook group, Meeple Nation Off Air. We hope to see you again at a game night, a con, or maybe a suspense-driven evening of Werewolf. Thank you for listening and supporting Meeple Nation, and stay tuned for next week's episode.
Thank you so much for listening. We very much want to thank our patrons who help keep the podcast running. I personally want to thank my co-hosts for all the help they provide with both content here on the podcast, in addition to what we have available on our website. Without them, the podcast would not happen. If you too would like to support the podcast, you can join the nation at patreon.com/Meeple_nation, or you can find a link to Patreon at the top of our webpage, meeplenation.com. If you have any questions, comments, or games you feel should be on our radar, you can always reach us at meeplenation@gmail.com. We can't wait to hear from you. I am grateful to Doug and Andy who helped me edit episodes, and I want to thank James and Kim Clark who do the editing on our blogs and on our webpage, which can be found at meeplenation.com. We want to thank Brain Detergent for our music. If you want to find more from him, you can follow his links that can be found on our webpage, or simply search for Brain Detergent on YouTube to find more of his tracks. Thank you again for listening and being part of the Meeple Nation community.